Today we have actor Taylor Handley. Taylor, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, Jeff.
Okay. Uh, you know, we're on what, our third season? Is it third or fourth season now?
Season 4,
Season four.
live and
Um,
direct.
the show was off a little bit. I was, it's I really cared about the actor's health and everything else like that, but I was missing the show too. So it was like a balancing test. Please get well. Please come back to the show. As an actor, how is that for you when you're going, God, I love this guy, and I'm wondering if we're going to go back to the show?
Oh man, I mean, getting the call, first and foremost, it was my friend, my
Yeah.
friend, hearing that he had, gone through such a tragic accident, but then knowing him and, how strong he is, he got through it. And it was literally from the day, I mean, almost a year to the date where the accident happened to a year later, he had recovered fully and we were shooting season 3. We had an amazing season 3. And then of course, we're doubling down on how great the show is with season 4.
I got to tell you, I was wondering how the show would play out. Mayor of Kingstown. I'm wondering if Jeremy is going to take a step back, everything. But for some reason, it looks like every actor doubled down. There's more to it. It's stronger. It's more serious than it was the season before. And I wonder if, when a tragedy like this happens, does it just affect the cast across the board?
I think that, his show of, how strong-willed he is kind of inspired everybody. Really. I mean, that's definitely a piece of it. But yeah, talking about feeling how this season is elevated. I think it has a lot to do not only with the storylines that everybody's going through, but with actually how it was shot. I don't know if you can tell, but you're way more in the headspace of these
Yeah.
characters than you've ever been before, and that was a technical decision made by the producers and the directors to get these extreme close-ups. You're right up in the grill. You're in their eyes. You're in their head. You're seeing everything kind of tick.
The one thing about this show, Mayor of Kingstown, is that there are no heroes and there are no villains. Everyone is right in the gray. I mean, even the worst people, there's some goodness in it. And I think every character has that issue that you're like going, wow, I'm liking everybody. Who am I supposed to hate here?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the fascinating thing about the show, and I think that's why audiences like to tune in, is because you're seeing these characters in these situations that are not very normal to your everyday person, and you're just getting to just sit with this and kind of go through it with these characters. It's pretty great.
Now, you get the new scripts and you know how last season ended. You're going, okay, your character might have to take one for the team and everything else like that. But did you think it would be this bad?
I was hoping it was this bad. As an actor, I mean, if it, getting to play such a juicy arc like Kyle McCluskey is afforded me the opportunity. Starting off as a fresh-faced detective, and now I'm a cop doing a 6-month bid in prison to make sure that the house of cards that my brother, who works in the gray, doesn't fall down.
You know,
So
it's a little spooky because, when they stick you in the cell and the first thing you do is get your ass beat. And I'm going, okay, here it goes. Whatever safety net he has, how bad are they going to send you down this rabbit hole? And will your character be able to come out of it? That's the scary part of it.
Well, not only did I get my ass kicked, but I got my ass kicked and I couldn't do anything about it. I was cuffed, and so you just have to, sit there and take the beating. And I'll tell you, I was talking with another show, and they said, and I know that they had tested, the character of Kyle McCluskey, through the years with audiences, and everybody really empathizes with Kyle because he's kind of if there were a good person in
Yeah.
Kingstown, he's probably the guy that even Mike says it, you're the last good thing in this town. So people really empathize with him and his wife and his baby. And, you know, so they tested it and they really empathized. So this season, I'm like continuously getting the crap kicked out of me. So to keep the
Yeah.
audiences at the edge of their seats.
I the first time I saw that scene, I had done somebody asked me to do professional wrestling to guest referee. And one of the young ladies said, "Can you take a hit?" And she had this bag of she goes, "It's supposed to be a bag of rocks, but it's not. You'll feel it when you feel it." And I was going, "Oh, it doesn't seem that bad." She whacked me with this thing. All I know is I dropped immediately, had a headache for a couple days. And I'm thinking, and I'm watching you get beat with this bag, with this sock of something. And I'm going, I wonder if he had to suffer like I did.
I have some pictures, where I'll have some bruises at the end of the day. I'll send them to my wife. I'm like, yeah, it was a great day today. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, it's not just on Kingstown. It's happened throughout my career. That's what happens when you do action. You just kind of get bumps and bruises along the way.
I love how people say they want to do their own stunts until they've been doing it a long time. Then they're like, we're good. You know,
Yeah.
you got now you have to do fight scenes with actual stuntmen sometimes. And these guys can take a hit. I mean, have you ever dealt with a guy who goes, do me a favor, just hit me. It'll look more real.
Oh yeah, I don't like to play that game. No, we like to keep it safe. We like to make sure that everybody goes home at the end of the day. I could probably be a little better at it, but it's always work in progress.
Now, your parents used to drive you to these auditions. Like, I think it was like 90 miles or something, 90 minutes from like Santa Barbara or somewhere like that.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It was about we commuted. Gosh, it was about some days 2 hours, some days 3 hours there and back. Yeah, it was a whole day.
Now that you're a working actor, you're doing okay. Do you call up and you go, Mom, remember those days when we would say, hey, someday we'll be like this? I mean, do you ever romanticize about it?
Oh, I mean, my parents have supported me, 110% since day one. And we talk about the early days sometimes. And especially there was it was one show we were doing, and I think I was like 13 or 14. And it was the El Nino 98. And we had to do second unit in Tahoe for about 6 weeks. And all it was doing was snowing every day. You couldn't shoot anything because it was snowing. So we were there for 6 weeks stuck in a honey wagon, which is 5 by 5. It's smaller than a prison cell, and my mom was right there with me, and we laugh about it nowadays, and they've been on this whole ride, so they're happy that the work they put in is paying off now. Yeah.
Fans, I get the benefit. I'm an attorney. I write comic books. I have this show. I'm always amazed at how serious listeners and watchers take these shows, and I'm sure people confront you all the time and go, and they're like panicked about how they want to talk about it. And every once in a while you want to go, hey, listen, I thank you for watching the show, but it's a show, right? It's a show.
It's so funny. I mean, I'm the same way. I watch a show, and then when I meet that person, I go, "Oh man!" Like, I just finished doing an arc on another show, and I'm a fan of their show, and I watched it, and I walk on set, and it's like, man, I've been watching your guys' show, and now I'm here. I feel like I know you, but I have no idea, but you have no idea who I am. So I kind of get that. I will say that, the people who take it a little serious, and there was a show I did, 20 something years ago where my character kind of, gets in the middle of this love triangle, and he's, kind of a pain in the butt for all the characters. People took that real seriously. And I had to tell him, like, you got to relax a little bit,
I'm just reading off the script. I'm not writing.
I didn't write it.
I love the interactions you have with people. And now you have this, let's call it a celebrity status. I know that's difficult, but when you're confronted on the street by people, who is the person that you get misrecognized as, where they think you're this actor and they don't realize who you actually are?
Well, it doesn't happen very much, I have to tell you. I mean, when people do come up to me, they specifically know who I am. Although I think one guy said, I forget what he said. One guy, he was this big dude. He was from Hawaii. He played on like a college team, and he recognized me as somebody else. I can't remember. Long story, whatever.
Listen, I just dealt with the Duck Dynasty guys. They thought I was Dan Aykroyd. I was like, all right, we're
Oh
good.
yeah.
I just think it's funny in the long run, but I do love being able to talk to people when they get excited about it and share it with them. I mean, did you find that early in your career you couldn't wait to talk about what you were working on in comparison to now, where you're going, yeah, yeah, okay, and just nod?
Oh, well, anybody who, wants to engage in a conversation about it, I'm happy to, talk with them about it. It's my life. It's what I love to do. And if they're interested, I'm more than happy to talk about it with them. Absolutely. But some people, a lot of people, they go, "Oh, what do you do?" And I go, "Oh, I'm an actor." And they go, "Oh, okay. That's cool. Like, what have I seen you in?" And I'm like, well, do you watch TV?" And they go, "Not really." Then I say, "Then you probably haven't seen me in anything."
Nothing. I mean, it's a funny thing to be able to do stuff like that. But what I always love to talk about to actors like you is those cool moments, those cool opportunities you've had. Some people get to go to the White House. Some people get to hang out, go to the Super Bowl. What do you think the coolest thing you've been able to do because of the work you've done in film and television?
Um, let's see. Well, I know that I just got an invitation to go compete in a celebrity horse cutting competition that Taylor Sheridan and his wife Nicole Sheridan put on in Fort Worth. So I signed up for that in April. So I'll get to go out to Texas and go ride and learn
Okay.
something I've always wanted to learn. So you get these like that where you get to go and learn new things. And I'd say something else is actually this last season when we were filming in Pittsburgh, we got to go to a lot of, baseball games kind of, at the beginning of the season and some concerts. And it's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. Every once in a while, you get to do something, and you're going, "Oh man, I'm so blessed." Sometimes, are there any days, you've been wanting to be a working actor your whole career, and you're like, "Oh, now I'm doing this and everything else," but it's scary too, because you're always trying to wonder what the next job's going to be, and when you have to choose what to do when you're not working on Kingstown, I mean, are you very careful about that, or are you just going, "Hey, listen, I want to be working"?
I take any fears that I have and I trade them in for faith when that pops up. That's what I have to do. Um, I try to not take everything so seriously. Also, this is a wonderful career. There was time, I've had to kind of switch my mindset about this career, a couple years ago before I got Kingstown because it was kind of ruling my existence. And now I'm having kind of, rebuilt my mindset about the business and, where my priorities lie. Um, I'm just grateful for whatever is happening, whenever it's happening, and yeah, just prioritizing family and just a good work-life balance.
I talk to a lot of actors all the time, and some of them go, "I want to be a producer. I have this play I want to do. I want to be on Broadway." You've been very fortunate in your career. Is there an area in entertainment where you're going, but I would also like a shot to do this?
Yeah, I think that exploring all aspects of the business. There was a time when I was thinking about getting out of the business and finding a new trade, and this project Kingstown kind of resurrected my love for acting, my love for the business, everything. And so now I've kind of realized that I have, again, 25 plus years in here, that I can grow any which way that I choose in this business. In fact, I actually did. I wrote and directed a short that went to a bunch of different, wrote, directed, produced, starred in a short that went to a bunch of different film festivals this last couple of years. And I think that there's a lot of room to grow in that direction.
I love that. And what you just said a second ago when you said, I didn't know if I would have to go in another direction. If I didn't get Kingstown, what would I have done? I talked to a lot of actors, and my daughter, she's killing herself to be one now. And I always like to talk to actors like you, especially when you mention things like that. What gets you to the next day when you're not working?
Um, mindset practices that's what I've had to, again, I mean, it is so important to keep the faith, to keep your mind right, to not be discouraged, to not let the rejections get to you, because at the end of the day, it's not personal, it's a business decision, when not handpicked for a role, and to believe and to put one foot in front of the other, and know that, that at some point around the bend, if you keep doing the work and you keep the faith and you keep showing up on time, knowing your lines and being nice to everybody, that it's going to pay off.
Well, I got to tell you, I just finished episode 3. I think episode 4 just came out. It's on Paramount, right?
Paramount Plus.
Okay, so if anybody wants to see it, it's a great show. The characters are amazing, and I look forward to season 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let's just keep moving on.
From your mouth to God's ears, my friend.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.